can have one more account determination for capital work in progress, also known as asset under construction, that we will see later altogether. That we will see later altogether. Okay, I'm just saving. Okay, so totally we have got six account determination. It means we have got six asset classes. So we will be creating them accordingly. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just a copy of all these and put on the Excel sheet. Okay, fine. So let's get into, yeah, save it. So account determination is maintained. We have not assigned any GL here. It is just a code with some description. The GL assignment will happen in the further steps. Okay, just to save it, come back. So we have got our six account determinations. Create screen layouts. So there are two types of screen layouts, one for master data, the other for depreciation areas. The depreciation area screen layout that we can see later, and asset related master data is maintained over here using this. What exactly this screen layout it is? It is just like our field status. So the screen layout rules will specify what are required entries, what are optional entries, what are suppressed entries. What are the items you want to suppress? What are the items you want to keep them as required? That will specify here in the screen layout rules. So the normal process is we will create a separate screen layout for each of the asset classes. That's the normal process. Or you can have one screen layout for all the asset classes. You can do the same thing. Suppose if you want to keep the required entries in all my asset classes, only one specified field, I mean the required field, I mean the field status is the same across my depreciation, across my asset classes, then you can maintain one screen layout. Otherwise, if you have a difference, it means if whenever I'm creating land asset, I don't want cost center as my required field. But whereas at the time of creating plant, I want cost center as my required field. At the time of creating computer, I want description as my required field. Suppose if you want up that kind of scenario, it means based on the asset class, if you want to have a separate field status, then you need to create a separate screen layout. The best option is to consider separate for each of the asset classes. So take the screen layout, and we can differentiate on the field status front. So create screen layout roles. The path is the same. Just execute. So here, oh, we have already 1000 those stuff. Let me say, I'll create what I will do. Okay, 1000 is already there. That's fine. Okay, again here, this is just a code with some screenshot, with some description. Does not have any properties. The properties will come in the further steps. So I think we should have a new entries icon, but I don't remember. If you don't have that, just you can copy the existing anything. You can select any of those six. It does not mean to select of these. You can select any of them and you can create your own. just by selecting copy. I don't remember whether we'll have a new entries or not, but that's fine. You can just select any one of these and just select a copy, and I will say X100. So the first one is what? The first one is a furniture machinery. Furniture X200, machinery X300. What do we have? The next is computer building land. Computer building land and electrical fittings. Okay, I've created a separate code for each of these asset classes. Why I've mentioned X, normally we will maintain the same code. Whatever the account determination has a code, we will apply the same code for all of these. I mean, screen layout, the next step we are going to do the asset classes. So we normally maintain the same so that easily we can recognize. But since we have already 1000 over here, I'm just maintaining as an X. So just save it back. So it is similar to that of account determination. We have just a code with some description. The properties for this screen layout will come in further steps. Save it back. The next we have is number range intervals. What are these? Why do we require the number ranges? So as I mentioned here in our example, so asset furnitures, we will have a number range for it. It means at the time of creating a furniture, what number range do you want to maintain? Do you want to maintain a separate number range for each of the asset class, or for all these asset class you want to maintain one number range? That's again your call. I mean business call. How do they want? But the best approach is to have a separate range, because on seeing this one series easily business can understand that this is something relating to furniture. Business does not go into detail of the master data to see whether it is a furniture or something else. On seeing the number itself, business will understand that this is something relating to furniture. So always it is better to maintain a separate number range for each of the asset classes. So this number range is maintained over here in this step. So define number range intervals. Path is same, just execute. Give our company code 1248 and select interval, change interval. You can see now over here. So as usual, you can keep an external or you can select internal. So if at all you have few more, then all you need is just select this insert line. So I need basically I need 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, what I will do, I'll say 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5, 0, 6. I'll maintain. And what is my number range going to be? I will say 1 lakh to 1 lakh 99. Or you can keep 10 lakhs to 10 lakh 99, whatever. 2 lakhs to 2 lakh 99, 999. 3 lakhs, 3 lakhs 99, 999. 4 lakhs, 4 lakhs 99, 999. 5 lakhs, 5 lakh 99, 999. Followed by 6 lakhs. Okay, I'm keeping all of them as internal. I'm not selecting them. Save it. That's it. Now the moment you're saving the internal in this saving, so the transport hasn't come, transport request hasn't come. If you want make them in a transport, you can just select here. Otherwise, we can maintain the number range individually in each of the systems. Each of the systems in the sense, in our typical implementation scenario, in typical SAP project scenario, we normally have three systems: dev system, quality system, and production system. Within the dev, we may have multiple instances. Within the quality, we may have multiple instances. In each of the instances, we can maintain them individually, or you can transport them to the next systems. But always the number range is the best option to maintain specifically in each of the systems. So just save it back. Any questions until here?
Nanda, why is
Okay.
that we cannot transport the number range?
It is not a good option to have a number range. You have an option to maintain that one, but sometimes what happens is it will override the existing numbers. If at all you have any number range there in that, some kind of mess will happen. So if you have a strict process to transport them and not to maintain individual in each of the systems, that's a better option. But number range is kind of a master data. It has to be maintained individually in each of the clients. It is kind of a master data.
Okay.
Suppose if you have already maintained the number ranges, suppose some team, right? So the number range in the asset, we may have a separate consultant for asset accounting. Okay. And we may have separate number range for all other things. I mean, production order, all those kind of stuff. The number range in the asset will not have major impact, but in the order case, it will have a huge impact. Internal order, production order, plant order, or whatever the order, I mean, plant and maintenance or whatever the order you pick, if you transport it, then what happens is the existing number range will override. And if some team is not importing and maintaining specifically in the relevant system, this will go and override. There we will find a mess. We will have a messy situation in that case. So it is always better to have the number ranges maintained specifically in each of the instances. That's about the number range. Next, coming to the asset, define asset classes. Path is the same, just execute. Here we will maintain all of them here. Whatever the description, whatever the thing that we have discussed so far, all will come here. Okay, so to have our own, we will create. So I think we have already 1000 and all. So let's create X100 and so on and so forth. So go to new entries. Now, if you see here, when I go into new entries, we can see the information. New entries, you can see this complete information. It means we are assigning the account determination, we are assigning the screen layout, we are assigning the number range. Okay, so this part is coming now. Now I'll say X100. What is the first one? Furniture. First is furniture. Select the relevant account determination. 1000. 1000 is a furniture. And screen layout for this is X100. And base unit, how do you want to show? Basically this base unit we can show in the case of material related stuff, but if you want you can maintain it as each, or how do you, normally all assets will show in each, right? so you can show in each. But the fixed asset, each fixed asset can also be maintained as a material. So in such a case, we will not be creating as a asset master. Each of the asset we will maintain as a material. So in such a case, this part is very important. This part is very important. We have different scenarios, but that is not the right approach to consider. But there are certain companies, they can create each asset as a material master. Okay, in such a case, this base unit, and we have another one called, there is another one, inventory data. This one is important in such case. Okay, base unit and include asset in the asset inventory data. Inventory, it is called as inventory, material related. Okay, in that case, that is important. So normally it is not required. If you want, you can maintain it as an each. Then number range. Number range. We have created number range 01. I will assign it over here. And do you want to maintain an external subasset number? We have one scenario called subasset number. Do you want to maintain an external number, or you want the system to be generated based on this number range? Yes, we can go ahead with that. So normally we don't maintain the external in any of the asset scenarios. Not only in the assets, in all the cases we will go internal, we will go by internal only. There are some issues with the external process. If at all you have, the plants across the globe, or if you have plants in different locations in the same country, what happens is individually people go and create. If they enter some code, probably the same code may be required to some other plant as well. In that case, that's going to be confusion. So in order to avoid that, normally we will go by internal process. Okay, so normally we don't select external in any of the areas. Inventory data, as I mentioned, if you want to create the particular asset as a material also, then you need to have this selected. Next is status of AUC. As I said, there is a scenario called AUC, asset under construction. What exactly the asset under construction? It is kind of an asset that we are doing. Normally, plant and machinery, we will go and procure it from outside. Instead of procuring from outside, if we build our own machinery from from the business itself, that in that case we will use this scenario. The best example is building. We have purchased one land and we are constructing a building. It can be used for office or can be used for factory, but the building is happening from our sources, from our resources. In such a case, we will call it as AUC. Or what is the other approach? We have a ready-made building, we will go and purchase the same thing. It means there is no AUC process, asset under construction process. This is also known as capital work in progress. So it is not a AUC asset. No need to select this. I mean, just select this. No AUC. If at all AUC, then you will have to select line item settlement. Okay, individually we will select. And investment management is another module within finance. In such a case, if you want to use investment management in the case of assets, then we will have to select, otherwise not required. Then lock status asset, if you don't want to use this asset class, then you can block it. The moment you block it, you will not be able to create any asset using this asset class.
Nanda, can
Mhm.
you give us one example of inventory data? that include assets. What kind of typically transactions?
It's not a kind of any transaction, it's totally a business process. So what exactly some business organizations do is they want the asset master also to be maintained from the inventory front. It means they will be creating for each of the asset master, they would be creating one separate material master. It means they will be procuring the material using the PO process. It is just like normal materials, how what activities that you do to a particular material, you will be doing the same thing for this asset. In that case, they will be using it, means they want to see they want to see basically what kind of transactions that we will be doing, and they want to consider them as a material, one type of material. In such case, they will be creating there. So the values, everything will be posted in material. You can see in the material reports, you can see all these assets related information as well. There is no scenario, it is just a business requirement.
So most of the time, that business don't go with that
It's
functionality,
not
right?
that. It's not that. We have some businesses using this functionality, but very rare. You can find very rare.
Very rare, right? Okay.
Yeah. Then the next is a history status, manage historically. So if you want to show the history of this asset class, I mean the asset master, you can select it.